In this movie, we are shown an extremely advanced world, and this is shown to us by a science corporation. But this corporation was made of replicants. These replicants are not ordinary robots, but humans made in the lab. They are much faster and more powerful than ordinary humans. Humans use them better than servants. They were sent to places where humans could not go. When the human violence increased on these replicants decided to fight with humans. As a result, thousands of humans were killed. Blade Runner came to end this war. His job was to kill the replicants, where we meet Officer K, who works as a Blade Runner. Actually, he is also an advanced replicant who knows his reality, that he is a replicant. He never works against his owner. Officer K's job is complete. He has to kill the replicants who are against humans. Officer K had come to kill a replicant who had betrayed his owner and made his own world. After killing him, the officer feels something strange near a tree near his house. He finds a box from there after checking it. He picks it up and brings it to his headquarters. A woman's bones were found in it. After scanning it, it is known that this woman was pregnant and died after giving birth to her children. The most shocking thing was that this woman was not a human, but a replicant. Knowing this, everyone is shocked because replicants cannot give birth to children. The senior of the lieutenant officer wanted to hide this from everyone, because if this rumor spreads among the replicants that they can give birth to children, then the population of the replicants will increase a lot. And they are afraid that as a result, there will be a war between humans and replicants, in which only humans will be killed, because replicants are much more powerful than humans. She now gives the mission to the officer that the child born by this replicant should be found and killed, and all the evidence of this should be destroyed. Taking the bones of the dead replicant of the officer, he goes to the corporation that makes replicants to get information of his DNA. The name of this replicant is Rachel. To get information of this, he goes to his senior officer. On the other hand, Hamid is shown to be the owner of this science corporation. His intentions are not good. He only thinks about making profit. This scientist's intention was that humans should also occupy all the planets other than the world. His company's people had reached 9 planets, but he also wanted to occupy the rest, for which he needed many replicants. But the problem was that it was very difficult to make so many replicants, and their life is also only 4 years. Meanwhile, he gets news, and he has found a replicant named Rachel, who was a very advanced replicant, who had also given birth to a child. And all this was because the scientist who made the replicant had also made it after many experiments. The scientist had a new hope. He asks his people to bring his DNA from the police headquarters so that he can find out how the replicant can be made. The officer who was on the mission to kill the child born from the replicant, he again goes to the side where he found the bone box. He sees a date, and he remembers that in his childhood, he also had a wooden horse, on which this date was written. Here in this scene, a scent by the scientist from the police headquarters kills the police and takes Rachel's bones. This girl's name is Love. After knowing this news, the officer was very worried because it could cause destruction. Then the officer comes to them and tells them about the date written on the tree, and the lieutenant asks them to collect the data of all the children born that day. While collecting the data, the officer's AI friend tells them that you were also born on this day, on which he replies that I am a replicant. I am not born, but I have been made. And all my memories are also fake, and they have been installed inside me. Finally, they come to know about a child who was born on that date, whose mother was dead and she was in an orphanage. Officer K and his AI friend now go to the orphanage, where as soon as they go, they start attacking them. Due to this attack, Officer K has an accident, and they become unconscious. They start opening the car door and start killing Officer K. Before something bad happens here, suddenly someone attacks here, and all the people present there die. We come to know that this attack was not done by the scientist's friend Love. She wanted Officer K to find that child, and after finding them, the scientist works on that child's research. When Officer K checks all the data, then he finds out that child born on that date, and when he picks up the things from that place, then he finds his horse here. With all these things, he starts doubting that the child he is looking for is Officer K himself. Now, he goes to a replicant who used to work for the Science Corporation and used to design the memory of all replicants. She scans K and tells him that all your memories are real. I did not design it. Officer K's doubt had now turned into belief. They come out of this office. Then the lieutenant came to arrest her because they were feeling that Officer K is cheating them. Their myth is also tested, so it could be known that the replicant is not cheating its owner. And in this test, Officer K fails. In his cleaning, Officer K lies to the lieutenant that the child you were looking for, I killed him. And because of this, I am worried. Maybe this is the reason that the machines could not detect my expression, that he was lying to save himself and to end the case. Officer K was very worried now. There were many people behind him. First of all, he changes his location through his AI friend, and then he goes to test something with his horse, where he finds some radiations on this horse. Knowing about these radiations, he reaches a hotel, where he meets Richard. Richard means the replicant who used to live with Rachel. Here in the police department, Love, who is with the scientist. She comes to the lieutenant and asks him about Officer K, and she says that the child you are looking for, K, has killed her. Hearing this, Love gets angry and kills the lieutenant, and checks the location of K on their system. Here, Richard was killing Officer K knowingly. Then Officer K calms him down and starts asking him about Rachel. Richard says that I had left her before Rachel's child was born, because there were many people behind us, and we had taken the help of the replicants' freedom movement to save ourselves. And according to their plan, I had to leave my wife. Those movement people put the child in the orphanage, and my only job was to erase all the evidence of the child's birth. That's why I tore all the records of that day from the orphanage. Meanwhile, Love and the scientist people come here, tracing the location of Officer K. They were taking Richard from here, while Love was angry at Officer K because he killed that child. And we see that after some time, the replicants' freedom movement people had rescued Officer K. When Officer K comes to his senses, the leader of that group comes to him. Officer K asks about Rachel's child. The leader tells that Rachel had given birth to a girl. Hearing this, he becomes more shocked. He was feeling that he is Rachel's son. He asks the leader, "Then who am I?" She tells that you are a common replicant. And actually, Rachel's daughter is that girl who works in Science Corporation to design replicants' memory. And we come to know that Officer K's memories were actually the memories of that girl. That's why that girl was feeling that she had killed that girl. And the leader of the replicants' freedom movement, Officer K, says that you will have to kill Richard in any case, because if Science Corporation scans his memory, then they will come to know about the real child, and then it will be misused. And that corporation can also come to know about their group. Here, Richard is brought to the scientist who could not see. But he was looking at Richard through a special device, and here he brings Rachel in front of Richard. Seeing this, Richard becomes very shocked. Rachel comes to him and asks, "Don't you remember me?" In response, Richard looks at him silently, and then he says that this is not my Rachel. Her eyes were not like this. Hearing this, Love kills this replicant. The scientist was not understanding that how did he come to know that which experiment was done by the previous scientist due to which replicant could give birth to children. He had also made a new Rachel from Rachel's bone DNA, but she did not have that speciality in her. Now only Richard was the only solution to the scientist. They take him to a secret place for further investigation, where Officer K also comes to his mission. Coming here, he fights with all these people. This fight was a little difficult, but not so much. Officer K had killed all the people of Scientist and Scientist here, and now he had to kill Richard, according to his plan. But he does not do a favor. He gives him the life of Richard, and here he makes him meet his daughter, about which the people of Replicant Freedom Movement had told him. And with this, the story ends here.